Welcome back to Routine Rundown, the show where we discuss the beauty industry and our routines beyond what meets the eye. I'm your host, Zoe Weiner, Senior Beauty Editor at Well+Good, and today we're speaking with the founder of Cadence, Steph Hon. Cadence is on a mission to help people maintain and transport their daily routines from medication to skincare in a sustainable and thoughtful way. And Steph and I talk about how they make that happen. Since the time of our recording, Cadence has launched a new product line, the System, improving upon the original capsule design into a multicolored, multi-size, stackable system. We'll share links to all the goods in the show notes. Before we dive in, don't forget to please leave us a review, share this episode with a friend, and subscribe to our newsletter, which is also linked in the show notes to keep the conversation going. Now, let's get into it. We're here with Steph Hon, who's the founder of Cadence. Steph, for people who are not familiar with the brand, tell us a little bit about what you do over there at Cadence.
Yeah, so Cadence is really a product innovation brand at its core. Our mission is essentially to take all the routines that we all have at home, whether it's for medication, your kids, skincare, or beyond, and help people maintain and transport these very special and unique routines on the go so that we can actually focus on what's important, which is being in the moment wherever we are in the world. And so our first product system to help maintain anything from supplements to skincare is our Cadence capsule system. So the TLDR is magnetic, refillable, beautiful vessels that are made from ocean-bound plastic that you can label and fill with anything to make your custom systems. You always keep your Cadence.
For listeners who may not be looking at it, they are the cutest little things that make taking anything you want to take with you anywhere easier, but also like keeping your pills organized in the morning, making sure you have kind of everything where you need it to be for your routine. Do you have an elevator pitch for your /Cadence's beauty philosophy?
You know, our elevator pitch would be, we invest so much time and money and energy into our routines from home. These are routines that make us feel like ourselves. And so the problem that Cadence as a brand is solving is we help you take those routines on the go in a painless, sustainable, thoughtful, and very elevated way. So you can A, feel proud of the products that you have, B, never have to sacrifice products that make you feel like you, and C, have something that makes you feel joy when using or looking at. So, you know, beauty is a combination for us, has to be functional, it has to be beautiful, and it has to bring you even more joy than you would expect.
Steph, when did Cadence launch? 2020, 2021?
Yes, February of 2020. Crazy timing, 3 weeks before the world, ground to a halt.
So I think that's so interesting because I feel like in 2020, routine kind of took on a totally different meaning. Like I know for me, my skincare routine, my workout routine, like all of those little moments of self-care were really like the only things I had to hold on to, and every other piece of routine kind of fell apart at that time. What was that like, kind of starting a routine-based company, and why do you think routines were so important to us in that moment?
For us, it actually really kicked off hockey stick growth for us that summer, and it has really not stopped. And I think it's because people during that time more than ever were doubling down, to your point, on routines and what routines meant for them, and how, we've always maintained these important at-home routines. We spent a lot of time, a lot of money, really helping us feel like our best versions of ourselves. I think we all have that thing that, we've really spent time curating for us. And then what we found was during the pandemic, routines and the perspective of what a routine meant broadened. And people were so focused on controlling what they could control, whether it was, okay, new routine for working out at home, new routine for taking care of your kids, for remembering to take your medication. How do we create a work from home routine that really works for us? So the doubling down in routines for people and the shift in routines was something that was so well suited for Cadence. The one reason why we named Cadence in the first place is because we like the idea that everyone has their own rhythm. It can be really fast for someone or really slow for someone else, but ultimately it is something that, is maintained over a long period of time. And I love that everyone during the pandemic especially had to really figure out what they were going to do to make themselves really feel as, together and grounded as possible.
Do you have any routines that are like your grounding moments during the day?
The routines for me that are my grounding moments are in different, I would say, spaces. So one is in my matcha morning routine.
Mm.
Two is in my supplement routine in the morning. I go and have my supplements in the same space, in my capsules, in the same place. So I have my matcha to my left, my supplements to my right, and it's this very motion-oriented routine that makes me feel like I'm starting and kickstarting my day. And then, of course, at the end of the day, my skincare routine is kind of the finale of my day in many ways. It's the moment where I, am able to do something I really enjoy for myself. It's a 15-minute block at the end of every day where it's a nice way to close out the day, and it's something I can always rely on.
I mean, I'm a beauty editor. Skincare is quite literally my job in so many ways, but I feel like especially during the pandemic and afterwards, it became about more than just putting things on my face. I don't know. It was like that moment in the day that you could really stop and just focus on the textures and the tactile experience of rubbing things on your face. And it really, I think the pandemic really confirmed that for me in a new way. And now it's something, same as you, I really look forward to at the end of the night. My boyfriend's always like, what are you doing in there for 45 minutes? But there's just so much fun stuff to massage on your face.
I'm with you on that one.
So I think that simplification is obviously something that's also really core to the brand, and this idea of kind of having the things that you need and that will make you feel centered and grounded are with you at all times. You can take them with you easily. And it really feels like no fluff, the things that you're taking with you. You take your few favorites and you're able to take the amounts that you need, and it's really straightforward. Why was kind of keeping things simple so core to what you've created? And why do you think that that's something people are now continuing to gravitate towards?
I think the interesting dichotomy that we've been able to merge here is the idea that we can make something complex and multi-step, and I would say elongated. Someone's skincare routine that might have 12 different products, we can make it simple. And I think that was one of my core values and a key part of our mission in the very beginning of Cadence, which was we don't want to say only take your essentials with you. Because to me, only taking my essentials is maybe my cleanser and my moisturizer. It makes me forego my toner and my serum and my face mask and my retinol. And so we wanted to say, hey, you can bring all of that and we can make it simple for you. You can pack in 10 minutes. Your stuff is already there. The capsules can serve as a packing list. No matter what your routine looks like, whether you are a minimalist or a maximalist, we can make the experience peaceful.
It's pretty great. But how did this brand come to be? I think it's rare, in this crowded beauty space that we're in and crowded wellness space to see a brand that's truly as disruptive as Cadence is. How did this happen? Where did the idea start?
So I came from the dance world and also the documentary film world. So my prior career was in documentary films and specifically sports films. And so we would put on marketing pieces for companies like Red Bull, Patagonia, the North Face. We'd also roll out an international tour. And so I found myself constantly traveling. And, prior to that, from, a dance career and world, you're running to class, you're running to meet friends, you're running to a million places and doing a million things. And I found that the biggest pain point for me in the through line was I need my skincare and I need my supplements. But anytime I'm trying to transport and maintain these two really important routines to me, I am very much drawing outside the lines on what I feel comfortable with and what are my values. So for me, that was I'm running to Sephora or CVS. I'm going to the pharmacy basically and trying to buy single-use plastic products that A, are incredibly wasteful, B, I never find what I need. And especially when we're out of the home, we want to feel like the best version of ourselves. And yet we're running into these walls, right? And so for years, I experienced this problem. I bought literally every product that existed on the internet. And I just could not find something that A, actually worked and looked beautiful and fit into the other products and parts of my life that made me feel good when I looked at it and made me feel also like I was being a thoughtful consumer and purchaser. And so I've talked to so many different people. I would talk to parents or people who have a really strong medication routine. It's something that they want to be able to bring with them, but not focus on. After many, many years of hearing all these things, I decided that something like Cadence needed to exist. And simultaneously, we needed to create this brand that reinforced heirloom products. We needed to create products that people knew would last them years, that they really trusted. We wanted it to be something that would solve my original distrust of everything else that I found in the market. So that was a spark.
And I'm glad you brought up the single-use plastic problem, because I know that such a huge part of the brand as well is this kind of sustainability impact. Talk to me a little bit about that and kind of how using these capsules can help people make the most of their products, reduce their waste. How does it all play in?
Yes. This is something myself and our entire team is very passionate about. Number one, our products are pretty indestructible. You can run them over with a car and they will not break. But I think this is really key, right? You're putting your products in the vessels you carry them in through the ringer. I'm a rock climber, I'm a surfer. I am constantly throwing my products into the bottom of my backpack or a tote bag that's getting knocked around, or honestly into my luggage that's, getting slammed on to the conveyor belt. And so, if you're going to have something, it should last for years. You shouldn't have to replace it. It's the opposite of single use, right? It's lifelong. Number two, what is the material? So as you mentioned, our products are made of 50% post-consumer material. So the breakdown of that is 20% ocean-bound plastic and 30% regrind from our manufacturing scrap. So there's no unused manufacturing scrap. And then our ocean-bound plastic, the background behind that is it is through a company, Envision Plastics. And I always like sharing the company name because for us, it was so hard to find someone who would sell us post-consumer material. And I wish people were a little bit more vocal about where they got their sustainable material from. So shouting their name from the rooftops, Envision Plastics, they're amazing. They set up in different beaches around the world and their partners employ locals to collect plastic off of the beaches. 80% of the plastic on beaches ends up in the ocean, hence ocean-bound plastic. And so they process it in North Carolina, California, and then that's where we come in and that's what we purchase. So of course, the higher the percentage, the better. And that is something we're always innovating on. Right now, it's 50% virgin material, 50% post-consumer. We're always looking to increase that number. And then, of course, from a purchasing perspective, buying refillable on average prevents 6 single-use travel-sized plastic bottles or cheaply made refillables from going into the garbage each and every year. Multiply that by a lifetime and, by an entire portion of the population, and you have millions and millions of travel sizes and plastic that you can prevent from actually ending up in landfills. So bottom line is it enables people to buy bulk, which is cheaper, and also something that is easier to recycle. Smaller size, single-use bottles are even harder to, process in the recycling system. So there are a lot of layers to, the sustainability story for us. And, it's something that, we care deeply about and are always working on developing further.
And I think it fits really beautifully kind of into this skincare moment that we're in. Like, I think, we've had many years of social media telling us to try new things. And I like to think we're kind of coming back to a more, you find the products that work, you stick with them, and you then want to have them with you everywhere. And instead of, taking a huge bottle of your $300 moisturizer or whatever it is that you've invested in, this is kind of like it allows you to have those fewer, better products with you at all times, right?
Yes. And then that allows you to buy in bulk. So I think I could not agree with you more.
Yeah. I'm a sample hoarder, which you are now making me realize is certainly not the way to live. But it has me thinking, like, if you're going on a trip using a sample size serum for 4 days and then throwing it away, you're also not going to get the benefits of that serum. It takes a month or more for something to work. So it really, any of those kind of smaller travel sample, what have you products are really just kind of instant gratification, use it for 4 days and then it's gone, versus what you've created is the long-term benefits, I feel like.
That's a really good way to put it too. You get to really understand the benefits after consistent use. So I appreciate that.
Now that travel is back I mean, I think it's fair to say travel is back. I've been to a zillion weddings this year and had to pack carry-on bags for all of them. How do you think this relationship to routine translates into that? Like, I feel like we all got really comfortable with our at-home routines. They were set into place. And then it was like, surprise, life's back to new normal, I guess, not normal. But how do routines and these simplified routines help people kind of in this moment?
Yes, that's such a good way to think about it. And it's very similar to how we talk about it internally. We think about the day out routine is during the pandemic, specifically the at home, the day out routine, or the road trip is what we were focused on, right? We were seeing a lot of people go to the beach for the day or go on a hike or a weekend camping trip, or just want to put their capsule set on their work from home desk and remember to take their supplements at the right time every day. Now we are seeing people bring capsules. I would say air travel is the biggest shift for us, and going carry-on only. Once you're in the cabin and on the plane, it's your home for a few hours. And my carry-on to me was like all the things I need to be sane. It's like my face mask, my melatonin, my earplugs. It's your home for a very brief moment. And so it can feel like such a unfamiliar and negative space if you don't have those things that make you feel comforted with you. And so we're seeing tons of people talk about their face masking on the plane, or they remember their earplugs, or they go through TSA more quickly and they're not having their products thrown out. So it's been exciting to see the shift happening for people. I mean, we were seeing it earlier, but now it's like pretty heavy duty. And so it's really cool to make that experience feel comfortable.
Yeah, I hadn't actually even thought about it as like the on the airplane moment, because I'm definitely the person who's like has serums in every pocket behind the airplane, like the crazy lady with the face mask on that people are staring at. But yeah, that idea of like trying to be as comfortable as possible in that very uncomfortable middle seat, which I'm always in the middle seat somehow.
I think what's extra interesting about it as well is it enables you to approach air travel faster. For me, prior to Cadence, I actually did a video of myself trying to go carry-on only, and it took me an hour, and it was an absolute nightmare of writing labels on tiny little bottles and a Ziploc bag. And now I can get ready for a flight for my skincare routine in 10 minutes. And I feel confident that I know I have everything. I'm not going to forget my cleanser or my moisturizer, which would be a nightmare. And I'm able to just get out the door quicker. So mentally, it just helps me not think of something as this like giant process. It's just a quick step in a seamless trip to the airport. And after Cadence, it was the first time I actually admittedly was able to go carry-on only. Prior to that, I was checking my skincare routine in my bag all the time. I just couldn't deal with it at all.
But I think like travel, I talk about this with my mom, my friends, like travel, especially if they're not doing it for, 2 years, a year and a half, however long. I think it took me a full 2 years to get on to do my first trip after lockdown. Like it became a lot more stressful just from kind of lack of practice and like not remembering what I needed to go on a trip or what I needed to sit on an airplane comfortably. So are you seeing a response from consumers kind of in that realm of like, I forgot how to travel and now I just need everything I possibly can to make the process as easy as possible?
I completely agree. It's hard enough, going back and getting into a groove of socializing or going to dinner or weddings or, it was a transition for me at least. And so, yes, to get in an airplane, I completely forgot how I would travel. And it's been a cool process of getting back into the groove. We know people buy Cadence right before a trip because they are struggling to get back into the habit of packing. And it seems a lot harder. It seems more arduous. There are more steps. You're just unfamiliar to that motion. And so, it kind of falls into the category of just things we're excited we can make easier for people and less stressful. I mean, that's really our number one thing. It's like, what can we take off your plate so that you don't need to worry about and you don't need to spend time mentally thinking about like, no, this isn't going to leak and explode all over your stuff. And like, don't worry, you'll go to that wedding and feel good because you're going to have the things you need with you, but you're not going to have to think about it that much. We've seen it from the beginning, even just people wanting to buy Cadence right before they, are about to leave the house because they remember what it's like having to get everything together, especially now.
Yeah, I feel like just everything, like when I think about kind of what my priorities are to feel grounded now, it is keeping things as simple as possible and having routines. Like those two things have really become, and I don't know if I'm like, this is turning into my therapy session. I'm like, I don't know if I was like that before the pandemic, but I think now in particular, it's just like simplification and routines you can count on have really for me become the centerpiece. Like everything else can often feel very like a lot where we're living in craziness, but those two little things that I feel like you've hacked are definitely central for me. And I think I would imagine for a lot of people as well. So Steph, speaking of routines, we talked a little bit about your skincare routine, but can you tell me a bit about kind of what that looks like, products, practices, what that wind down moment looks like for you?
Absolutely. I love talking about my skincare routine. Let's see. So I think it's probably around 20 to 25 minutes. I feel like it's just such a good time to move slowly. So the products I kick it off with are the Sensebo micellar water. If I butcher any of these brand or company names, I apologize. I love your product. So I can't speak more highly about kicking off my routine that way. My face has never felt more clean and looked better. Number two, I use the Straccia line of products. I use the Gentle Milk Jelly Cleanser. Then I follow it up with the CeraVe Cleanser with benzoyl peroxide. Then I follow it with a toner from Christine Chin. After that, I use vitamin C followed by the hyaluronic acid serum from The Ordinary. And then after that, I use the New Face device. So I use the gel that goes with it, which is actually amazing. And I leave it on my face. Love the New Face. And then after the New Face, I will follow it up with the Straccia Gold Moisturizer. And then after the Gold Moisturizer, if it's a exfoliating night, I will use this retinol that I'm obsessed with. It's actually from Amazon. It's a 313 pomade. It's like this hidden gem. It's this French retinol. So I'll follow it up with that. Or if it's masking night, I'll use the Maybelline Strong line of products. I love the Problem Solver mixed with the Honey Mud. And then if it's a moisturizing night, I will use a, moisturizing gel that I'll leave on overnight. I also will throw on a Zit Sticka patch every once in a while, or the Zit Sticka mask, which is phenomenal as well.
A really good mix of high-low. Love to see it. Like you have your $6 hyaluronic acid and then your fancy New Face. Do you think has your routine, I know you mentioned micellar water, has your routine changed at all in the last couple of years, either since Cadence came into your life? How has your routine changed?
Oh my gosh, my routine has changed so much. I honestly cannot even remember what my skincare routine was back in the day. I've spent the last 3 years really figuring out what works for me. It's just been an experiment over the last 2.5 to 3 years of what works for my skin and my hair and my body. So the role Cadence has played is it's not made me fearful of adding steps to my routine because then I know confidently that I can always take those steps with me no matter where I'm going.
Cool. And is there anything on the horizon that you can share with us for the brand?
Well, we're very much at, I would say, the tip of the iceberg of where we are with Cadence. Again, we spend so long making our products. We've really built our whole company around that framework of doing it all internally. We do all design in-house. We build everything from scratch. So Yes, we have a lot coming down the pipeline. Definitely just keep watching us, and, to our community, they're amazing for all of their incredible support and chiming in on what they want to see from us next. We're always usually working on the things that, they want to see from us. So just stay tuned.
Hint, hint to everyone who's leaving Instagram comments, I guess. I have no idea what it is, but it sounds exciting. Cool. Well, Steph, thank you so much for coming on. This is such a treat. I feel like Cadence is really, the capsules are going to get me through my next slew of weddings next year. And I'm not going to have, this is the bag that I've been toting around. So it's like 200 pounds filled with skincare and I need to change things. So that's that. But thank you so much, Steph.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
On the next episode of Routine Rundown,
people were embarrassed by this condition. It was suffering in silence almost. It's not that hair loss for women is so new. It's that you're now having the conversation out in the open and you're demanding that the industry do a better job. And women's hair loss is a very different process than men's. Women actually have oftentimes hair in the follicle. It's just not punching through. And the quality of the hair isn't the same as you age.
On today's show, you heard me, your host, Zoe Weiner, in conversation with Steph Hon. Routine Rundown is a Well+Good Studios production. If you like what you heard, please share with a friend or two so they can join the conversation too. We also have a newsletter for you to subscribe to, which we've linked in the show notes for extra insight on all things mentioned in today's episode. And if you feel so moved, you can always drop us a line at podcast@wellandgood.com. Routine Rundown is produced by Taylor Camille, Jen Snyder, and Abby Stone, along with help from many other hands and brains at Well+Good. Our episodes are edited by Sarah Gabrielli and Maya Stone, with additional production support from Malia Agadello and Ashley George. Our theme music was created by Nick Doss, and our show art was designed by Natalie Carroll, Jenna Gibson, and Alyssa Gray.